So obviously, John, there's a fair bit going on at the moment in the world. What's the feeling like around the club, and how have you felt with it all?
Well, it's clearly unprecedented what's going on. So there's no doubt there's an air of uncertainty around, and things are changing so quickly. From the advice you get the end of last week to what evolves over the weekend to even today, things are changing so quickly. So, there's no question that from our point of view, we're putting in measures as much as we can to look after our players and staff, and that includes small groups, reducing the amount of face-to-face contact we all have with each other, making sure our hygiene practices are absolutely spot on, looking at things like social distancing. All of that's been talked about publicly is what we're absolutely about here in the football club, and making sure that we have the health and safety of our players, staff, and anybody else that we're in contact with at the forefront of our minds.
There's a lot of questions coming through around the season going ahead, and what you think, whether the season should go ahead or not. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, it's something that that naturally. I'm sure everyone's the same. Your natural instinct is the health and safety of people, whether that's players, staff, supporters. Everyone feels the same. This is such a complex issue, and so the AFL, the government, the health authorities, both inside the club and outside the club, we just have to rely upon the advice that we get, because I think that in the end, as a football coach, that's what we rely upon is the professionals to be able to guide us and give us advice in that space. And even though your gut instinct is always about the health and safety of your people, and we need to be putting those things in place, putting measures in place to be able to protect people.
What about travel? Obviously, we're playing away this week. Will the team have a chartered flight, or will they be on a commercial flight? Where's that at?
This thing's, as I said at the start, this is moving so quickly. We're finding out. We'll get more information about that daily. We'll find out more information from the AFL, we assume today, in regards to how that looks and the protection of players, staff, and the public. It's a watch this space, and the AFL are acutely aware of it, of making sure we minimise contact, and we try and do that internally as well.
You touched on it in your opening statements, but the precautions the club are taking, can you take us through some of the precautions around the training program that the club are taking?
Yeah, we've implemented some strategies where we're small groups, not large groups, small groups, as much as we can, even though we understand that we have a game to prepare for on Saturday. So small groups as much as we can, and trying to make sure that the practices that we put in place around the footy club are as good as they can be. There's in any meetings we have very small numbers in large meeting rooms. We understand that the players have to train, and they'll be training, but we're trying to minimise the chances that our players have of contact with each other as much as they can, but also the greater community.
There's a few footy questions coming through as well. One on Lance Franklin and how he's tracking for the game on the weekend. Is he a chance of playing?
No, Lance is not going to play this week. It was, I guess, always a long shot that he was going to be right. He won't be playing this week, and he won't be playing next week. So he needs a couple of weeks of training. We need to get some more training under his belt. So he's not going to play this week. Isaac Heaney should be fine to go. So we expect him to be okay.
There's a question around training in smaller groups and how that might affect, I guess, the physical preparation of the guys. Have you had to think about that much with that action being taken place?
Yeah, we speak to our sports science guys obviously a number of times and consistently all through this, and so all we can do is get them as fit as we can, making sure the balance is right, and prepare them as best we can. And we're confident that we've got the expertise in the football club to be able to do that. And I would like to say that there's in an AFL club environment, you have the best people, whether that's medical people, sports science people, to be able to help advise and get the very best advice. And so that's all you can do as a coach, is to listen to the advice you get from the experts, and that's what I'm listening to.
Another injury question was around Isaac Heaney and him playing this weekend. Is he likely to take his place in the side?
Yeah, Isaac will play this week, so he got through last week's game fine.
And another player that got asked about was Sam Reid. How's he looking for round one?
Sam is unlikely to play in round one at this stage. We'd like to get some more training into him, so hopefully we'll see how next week goes. He's been training well, but we need to get some more training into him.
And in general, the fitness of the side, how are they looking heading into the first game of the season? Yeah,
look, we're going quite well. We had a January that we had a few injuries, and then after January, so through the February period, we've been able to put together some consistent training, and so we head into the block this week with the feeling that we'll be prepared to go as we can, and looking forward to the clash against Adelaide. Once again though, and our challenge is also to make sure as an industry that we have a game to focus on, but there's also there's a lot going on in the world at the moment, and we're not naive to think that there's a lot of people talking about what's actually happening, and our players and our staff are no different to anyone else in the community.
There's a question coming through: has anyone at the club been tested for the virus at this point?
Yeah, I don't think it's relative. It's worthwhile going down that path, and only because once you start answering questions like that, you could be asked questions about that every day, and I'm not sure whether that's relevant at this point. All I know is that our players and staff have the best possible advice, and we're going ahead business as usual. And I don't think it's worthwhile going down the path of speculation or that, because I really don't think it serves a purpose.